Welcome back to 111 Cars and to Bell Colvill, and we have just reached the end of our epic European adventure in the Final Elise Cup 250. So we figured what better way to start to tell you the story of our adventure than by talking about what makes this car so special. So the Final Elise Cup 250. We're already pretty big fans of this car, aren't we, John?
We're massive fans. We have a pair of Cup 250 Final Editions ourselves. We're very familiar with the car, but having driven it around Europe, it didn't disappoint and it excelled in everything we were expecting it to.
So it's been a massive privilege to be able to take this, the last ever Cup 250 produced on this trip. Massive thank you, first of all, to the owner for letting us do this. So generous and just amazing that we got to share the car with so many other people as well, not just ourselves, but the Lotus community across Europe.
That's right. We've known quite a number of owners in Europe and beyond, having connected with them previously on different social media platforms. And so we've already had that kind of community on a kind of electronic level, but to actually meet people with the car, show the car off to them, it didn't disappoint. So it was just, a real privilege to take this car abroad and show it to as many people as possible.
It really was. And so we're going to be bringing some of that kind of community content to the channel soon, but we thought, what better way than to start telling you the story of our trip than to actually talk about the car itself and what makes this special. Now, obviously, it's the last one. It's the last ever Cup 250.
It is.
Which is a pretty cool thing in of itself. And the plate kind of sums it up perfectly, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, so we've got F1 NAL final, and it fits it absolutely perfectly, and it almost pulled as many heads as the car itself.
So full marks to the owner for the plate. It's absolutely perfect for this car. The second thing you've got to talk about is the colour.
It is. So we've mentioned it before. We don't want to harp on about it too much, but you can't avoid it. This is a RAL 2005. It's a luminous orange, and it changes colour in front of your eyes, even in the sun. Sun goes out, and it goes orange. When the sun goes in, it becomes kind of a red glow, and it's quite amazing to see. And something that we've kind of commented on before, that the owners, they didn't believe us when we kind of posted some images, and when they saw us, they were literally blown away.
So the story behind this colour, luminous orange, it goes back to the 1960s, so Lotus Indy cars of the 1960s. They ran this colour with the STP livery, and the legend goes, the story goes, that the engineers would put their clipboards onto the car as it pulled into the pits, and in that brief amount of time the car was sat in the garage, the colour would actually bleach around the clipboard.
Amazing.
And that's one of the problems with this colour, that it is quite volatile, isn't it? It will probably bleach and fade over time.
It will age. So, if you see this car in a number of years, it may well look different, but that's part of the charisma and the character of the car, that you'll see that aging process.
Yeah, the owner was kind of pretty determined to get this colour. He absolutely loved this colour, wanted to spec it on other cars, but when he got the opportunity to do it with Lotus, it just kind of fitted perfectly with the historical element.
And to be fair, a Lotus will fit any colour.
A Lotus fits any colour, but it
does.
Especially fits bright colours.
Yes. Thank you.
So the paintwork on this car is absolutely stunning. You can probably see it on the camera, it just gleams, and that's because it has 14 layers of paint on this car. 14.
It's incredible, the process that Lotus had to go through to apply that many coats. I think we saw a few pictures of bleeding hands, sanding the paint down,
absolutely.
Reapplying the coats. It was quite an amazing process.
Yeah, we actually met the guy who actually painted this car, didn't we, at Hethel?
We did.
And he said, look, at the end of the day, it was like he had snow blindness from looking at this colour all day. So it's just an amazing job. I think Lotus always do a great job with paint, to be honest. Always fantastic quality, but this is something else. And as you're driving it anywhere, the attention it attracts from car people and non-car people, simply because of the colour, is amazing. The interior is also quite interesting and a little bit different. So on the outside, we've got this luminescent, bright, vibrant, in-your-face colour. The inside's quite different, isn't it?
It is. So inside, the owner has decided to go the opposite. So rather than having a shouty interior, it is completely black. So we have full black leather seats, black leather dash, the black leather sills, and it's just that whole contrast between the outside and the inside.
Yeah, I mean, the way I kind of see it is almost like the outside is for everyone else to look at. The inside is all about the driver. It's all about focusing in without any distractions, without any clutter on the driving experience. I mean, this car doesn't even have any carpets, does it? Just exposed aluminium.
Yeah, completely exposed.
It feels like a proper driver's car inside. There's no radio, just a blanking plate. Very little options actually spec'd on this car apart from the colour.
Another interesting detail is that on the Cup 250, on the wing end plates, they would by default come with the Union flag. The owner of this particular car decided to go with something completely different. So what has been spec'd is the Jolly Roger.
Yes, so the story behind the Jolly Roger is, well, twofold. One, the owner kind of sees this as just a giant toy car, really.
It is.
He's even got a Hot Wheels key fob on his key, hasn't he?
Yes.
So it's a fun car, and he figured, let's put something on the wing that's fun. Also, pirates fly the Jolly Roger when they're just about to attack, and he thought that was quite a cool little bit of symbolism for the Elise on the attack on mountain roads, on twisty roads. So yeah, a little bit of fun, a little bit of interest. The kids especially liked it, I noticed, when we were driving around.
It did, yes. I'd also like to point out that the owner spec'd silver wheels.
Silver wheels, good
So
choice.
if you know, there's a bit of a rivalry between the silver and the black. So yes, but he went with silver.
Yes, so the diamond cut silver wheels. You've also probably noticed that the barge boards, the front splitter are all colour-coded, all luminous orange as well. Even the rear wing, the uprights are colour-coded. The whole thing is just kind of draped in luminous
Orange.
Yes. But kind of specification and colours aside, let's talk about what this car's like to drive. Obviously, we are familiar with it. We've got our own cars, but we've driven this particular car for 5,000 miles now around Europe on every kind of road you can imagine, high-speed autobahns and twisty Swiss alpine passes. It's just been brilliant, hasn't it?
It's rose the challenge. Some people think you can't travel in an Elise. Yes, there is limited boot space. It's an Elise. That's just part of the package. However, 10 days with the two of us in the car with all the equipment that we've had to take has been manageable. We've done it, and it's just risen to the challenge. So, you know, driving very, very focused on those alpine passes, following some of the other Lotus owners, it was just perfect. It just felt, you know, even heavily laden with all the equipment, it was just absolutely wonderful to drive. We're used to the car on our local roads in the Peak District in the UK, and it was just the same. Roads were slightly smoother, I have to say, on some of those passes, which is nice. But the suspension, so I mean, this suspension is perfect for those twisty roads. I mean, these are running on standard Bilstein sport suspension. However, it was epic.
It was fantastic. Yeah, I mean, obviously the Cup 250 is kind of billed as a bit of a track car. It's got track tyres on it, but it's really made for English B roads and those kind of real-world driving conditions, isn't it? It just soaks those roads up so well. And, you know, we could just head down a motorway in relative comfort with the air conditioning on.
Yes.
It was manageable.
It was manageable.
But when we hit those passes, this car just came alive and it did not let us down once, did it?
No.
The grip levels are insane. The mechanical grip on this car, well, on any Elise, is unbelievable.
It is, yeah. So a lot of the front end grip is just there all the time. You kind of take it to what you think is the limit and it will be happy and it will go further and further and you can kind of push it further and further before anything will kind of snap or you get understeer or anything like that. It's just really, really, really good.
Very impressive. And it's probably worth mentioning as well that this car is currently running Toyo R888R tyres, which are not the standard tyres. It comes with a Yokohama AO52s. But we needed a new set of tyres and could not find any AO52s in Europe, could we, at all?
No.
So we went with these and they have not let us down, have they? They've been absolutely brilliant.
They're great. They're semi-slick, so if you ever want to drive in sort of wet conditions, especially with standing water, you would have to be very, very careful. But certainly for our trip in the soaring temperatures that Europe has just had, it's been magnificent.
Another really cool feature of this car, which you may have noticed, is there is a load of signatures on the aluminium panel behind the driver's seat, isn't there?
That's right, yeah. So when we pull the seat forward, you can see all the signatures of the people that have actually helped to manufacture and build this specific car.
Yeah, so all the guys who built the car, people like Russell Carr and Matt Windle have signed it, and guys who've been involved with the story of this car so far. So Shmee, who had the car for a couple of weeks, I think he's going to have it again, has signed the car, and other guys who've been involved with driving it and testing it have signed the car too. And we feel very lucky and very honoured and privileged to be asked to sign it as well, which is pretty cool.
It was, yeah, very privileged for that. Wasn't expecting that, but it's nice to have your kind of name etched in a little bit of history, perhaps.
Absolutely. Another little feature is also the final edition plaque as well, which is different to ours.
Yeah, so there's the generic plaque that gets assigned to all the Cup cars, and in fact the 240 as well. But this one actually specifically says it's the last Cup 250 made in Hethel, which I think is another nice little piece for the car.
And I suppose one of the main things that's amazing about this car is that the owner just wants to drive it and drive it and drive it. You know, it's the last ever car. This is the kind of car that would normally get put in some collection somewhere to appreciate in value and appear at some auction, you know, in 10, 20 years' time at some ridiculous price. But the owner's like, no, this is a driver's car. This is meant to be driven. He'd already put 5,000 miles on it before we even got it. We've put another 5 on. It's here at Bell Colvill for its 10,000 mile service. And the plan is to just keep going and going, isn't it?
Exactly. We've heard the owner mention numbers of hundreds of thousands, maybe even 1 million miles. Let's see what happens to it. But the chances are you may still see this car. So if we're unfortunate to actually see the car on our recent trip, hopefully there will be an opportunity in the future to see it.
So there we have it, the Final Elise Cup 250. What a car and what an adventure we've had.
Absolutely perfect. A great opportunity, and we've loved every minute of it. It's been very tiring. We've covered a lot of miles in a short amount of time, but if we were asked to do it again, I think we'd do it.
So there'll be loads more content coming to the channel from our trip with this car, but we figured it would be a good place to start by just talking about the car itself. But we've met some pretty amazing people and cars along the way, haven't we?
We have, yes. So future videos that will be coming shortly. We met up with an Elise GT1 race car. Now there's only 8 of those in total, 7 race cars, 1 road car. And we saw one of the race cars over in Germany, so we have a feature on that coming soon.
We also spent some time with Elisa Artioli in Italy, who obviously the car is named after, and she got the last ever customer Elise, didn't she? So we got to spend some time with her and her car, which was fantastic. We'll also be bringing videos to the channel, exploring a little bit more about the Lotus community in Europe, the roads that we drove on, and just generally the whole adventure that we went on.
Yeah.
So if you're not already subscribed, please do hit that subscribe button. It really helps us out. Switch on your notifications if you don't want to miss any of the videos that are coming, and we'll see you very, very soon.